Hard Parking Podcast, brought to you by Wright Honda in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm your host, Jay Finning. Before I go any further, thank you everybody for tuning in. Just ran the analytics and there are 31 countries showing up. 31, that's pretty amazing. I want to hear from all of you, so please send me an email to hardparkingpodcast@gmail.com and say hello. Also tell a friend about this podcast. Why not make it 32, 33? Why not make it 50 countries? If this is your first time listening, I encourage you to check out a few episodes. First off, thank you. But I encourage you to check out a few episodes because I like to pivot the content a little bit to bring you the best quality possible. It's all the same, but incredibly different. And I guess you'd have to listen more to find out. Please leave a review and rating if possible, wherever you are tuning in from. It means the world to me and it helps me climb the charts. Got to feel better about myself, you know what I mean? For those of you in the United States, if you missed it, check out the student loan forgiveness episode. It's the most downloaded episode I've had in the last 60 days because it's such a hot topic. There will be a follow-up episode because I'm going to have some additional guests on who navigate in the landscape of credit and making better decisions. So we're going to talk about paying off student loans and what it can do for you, and if you don't pay it off, what it could also do to you in a negative aspect, and also how to get out, because some of you are in financial trouble and want someone you can trust and to reach out to and help you get out of it. And I only bring people on here that I like and trust. Safe space, safe people. Coming up on today's episode, I talked to an old friend, Andy. So the thing about Andy is he was a part of my very first group of car friends. So we're talking like the late 90s. And then I'm joined by a high energy YouTuber and friend, Jesse Shield. He joins to talk about his YouTube channel. So one thing Jesse's been able to do is within a year, he's blown past the requirement of 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 viewing hours. So we're going to talk about that, and he's going to tell us how he did it, because I really need that help, man. My channel does not grow, which, by the way, pause this, go to YouTube, subscribe to Hard Parking Podcast. Thank you very much. The popular Q&A segment is back with a guest, and this is where we answer your submitted questions through social media. It's a lot of fun. But first, I'll do what I always do and dive into a little bit of society and culture after a quick 30-second word from a sponsor. Are you tired of your dog losing its cool in a thunderstorm or fireworks? You might want to look at tongue treats. TongueTreats.com. High anxiety relief, pain relief, inflammation relief. It's a direct connection between the tongue and the brain. Doesn't waste time going down to the stomach, where it gets broken down, enters the bloodstream, then to the brain eventually. By then, little Izzy, my dog, has been hiding under the house for like 20 minutes. The Tongue Treat CBD strips provide rapid results for your pet with the right amount of CBD, which is not psychoactive. It's important to test and verify your pet is getting the proper dosage. A single strip should be enough. Have doubts? There's certified analysis from a lab available on the website. Think about it. Efficacy and economy. Tongue Treats. Thank you for that, Tongue Treats. Before you guys wondering what the hell is a pet commercial doing on an automotive podcast? Well, this is the non-automotive automotive podcast. You can have whoever I want on here. And as most of you know, I love my dog, Izzy, Mr. Waggles, Izzy Ito. Lately, I've been calling him Papa Smurf. No idea. It doesn't matter. He can't hear me anyway because his hearing is about shot. So I just recently reported a tweet, and it's the first time I've ever really reported a tweet. If you listen to the most recent episode, I had Wally Hippolito on, host of the Off the Stoop podcast, and we talked a little bit about the dangers of social media censorship and how it doesn't really make sense to censor one and not the other. So the Bucs just won the Super Bowl, and I'm actually going to talk about that a little bit later in the Q&A segment because guess what? I was right, and you're going to find out just how close I was to being right. But the thing is, you know, there's a lot of controversy on Tom Brady coming off the celebration in the boat, and someone had to help him walk, and he kind of waved to people and didn't stop and talk to reporters. So everyone's like, well, that's such a bad example, and I have alcoholics in my family, and shame on you, shame on you. The higher profile you are, the more haters are going to come out. That's just how it works. In all those complaints, I get it. But one person on Twitter said Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski are leading. He did something about those two, and he showed a picture of two fully dressed in the robes and their hoods KKK members. It said something like representing America with a triple K. I was like, we don't need that. We do not need that shit on Twitter. There's a lot of bad shit on Twitter. We don't need hate mongering. Now, you can say Tom Brady sucks. You can hate Tom Brady for winning. You can call him a cheater. You can call him whatever you want. But I think you cross the line when you start calling anybody of any color such a diehard racist. It's divisive. And those type of images make people want to fight. And some people believe that. So I reported the tweet. And I'm not sorry for it. And I'm all for free speech, but to me, that's crossing the line. Do you think I'm wrong? Let me know. I don't think I'm wrong, but, we all have an opinion. So the other day I was having a really nice high-end meal with some car friends at Jack in the Box. And there's just the four of us, late night. A couple friends. One guy came in from out of town. And so, we just do this little thing. And we were just talking about memories. We were talking about our childhood because we're all at least 35. I mean, I'm 45. I just turned 45 a couple days ago. So happy birthday to me. Thank you very much. But the question was, because we were talking about technology, because we all have children, some of them younger than others, but we're talking about generating memories. And the thing is, how are today's people, I would say under 22, how are they generating memories? And even you look at these 4 and 5-year-olds now, you just hand them an iPad or whatever, how are they generating memories? And what I mean by that is there's kind of, and as antiquated it is, there's kind of a joy to going through that old shoebox full of photos and going through them, and you're just looking and you smile because these pictures are so old. And you remember that. Now everything's on your phone. And let's be honest, we take thousands of photos, we back them up, we never look at them again. Almost never. Of those thousands of photos, at least 80% of them are junk. They're screenshots from something you're looking to buy. They're wasted selfies because only 1 out of 50 is any good. Maybe you're at a car show and you take a picture of 100 cars on your phone. You might post 4 of them on social media and never look at it again. And for, to take that further, I grew up in the era with disposable phones where you take the photo and you crank it to get to the next one. And now you only see those like at weddings, like in the middle of the table, like at a reception. Take photos and drop them in this box, and we're gonna have them developed at Walgreens or Eckerd. Is Eckerd? I don't think Eckerd's still with us. When I grew up, they had Eckerd Pharmacy, Rite Aid, all that kind of shit. But there was a thing where you take this roll of film, you take it out of the camera, you stick it in this little plastic thing, and you throw it in the drawer. And maybe you find it years later. Maybe you immediately take it somewhere and get it developed, if you're not dropping off the disposable camera. And then you have to go there and you go through all the photos and you can say, okay, this is good, this sucks, because there's no preview. You don't know. Heaven forbid somebody open up the film canister, the film receptacle, and overexpose the whole roll, and half the roll's gone. But those are some of those little things, How about stretching the phone? And this is a very American thing because in some other countries, you probably still have these things. But how about stretching the house phone? If you say landline, home phone, it's foreign to a lot of people. They have no idea. We had a landline in Michigan. The only reason we had it is because we had DSL. And you have to have a landline for DSL. I remember stretching, and you see these in these old TV shows. You stretch the phone across the room, and you can kind of follow where somebody is at after just following the phone line. I remember having your own phone was a big deal, like your own phone line. But those are those type of memories. It doesn't have to be. I remember when myself and the family, we took a trip to the Grand Canyon, because you're still going to have those memories. But it's just the other little things to reflect on. What are the kids going to say in 15 years from now? I remember trying to make sure that my iPad was plugged in so it didn't run out of juice. Hell of a memory. Maybe I'm at the point where I represent the old school. I'm 45, so a lot of people, I'm an old person. Eventually, our road trip's going to go away. We took road trips all the time as a kid. We didn't fly anywhere. I don't remember flying anywhere with my family ever. We drove everywhere. And I had an episode way back in the day of, pulling over and buying a road map as soon as you got into a state, if you didn't have that giant Atlas or Rand McNally book. But obviously you don't need that now. Are families still doing road trips? Or is it just an old people thing? Because now you don't have to go anywhere. Now you don't want to go anywhere. Anyway, coming up, Andy. I don't want to slaughter his last name. I already did it in the interview. It's time for the social media highlight of the week, sponsored by Kuya Automotive, currently specializing in new and used NSX parts. NSX owners, hurry up and head over to Kuya Auto, that's one word, and inquire about group buy special pricing, or on Instagram at Kuya_Automotive. That's Kuya Automotive, where Big Brother's looking out for you. Today's guest is an old, probably, I wouldn't say probably, he is one of my first, air quotes, car friends that I remember having, Andy Lazararas. Iliaditas is what I have written down here.
Iliaditas. Elizararas.
Or just call him Andy Lazarus.
Common folks, Elazars.
And so we've discovered three ways. You were always just Zumo or Hella Andy to me.
Zumo. It was Hella Dave, and I was Zumo.
Yeah, but I called you Hella Andy because of Hella Dave.
Yeah. Hella Dave and his MR2.
Yeah, everything with this cool was like hella cool. And didn't he have like some Oakley razors and stuff?
Yeah, I just remember he had everything on his car he would show us. We go, man, that's hella cool. Because he would say it, he'd say it before us. But yeah, he had some hella cool headlights and hella cool fog lights. That was his favorite word.
So we've kept in extremely loose contact. It's one of those things, right, with Facebook where you reconnect with people and it's like, hey, how you doing? Good, how are you? And then that's it. But you invited me to your Honda group a while ago. And so I keep looking at the updates. And so you are the founder, owner, the guy who runs a Honda group on Facebook for CRXs. Give me some history on that. And is it a public group?
Fully, completely correct. Yeah. It's public, but you have to, I'm the only admin of the group. I've got some strict rules on there. It's a no bullshit type of group.
Yeah.
I don't, people start posting. If you post something that says, delete if not allowed, it's immediately deleted. I don't care what it is. I just delete it.
I hate those, by the way.
I hate that. And what is this worth? Just bull crap. I got like 5 or 6 little rules in there, and I just try to keep it simple. And it's been pretty good so far. And it's actually getting a lot of international attention too. I've got a lot of people from the States, but there's a lot of people from Puerto Rico, a few from Switzerland. They're just kind of all around, a lot from the UK. So it's kind of growing. I started it back in 2015. I had bought a 86 Honda CRX as a project car. Found it on good old Craigslist for like $500. I sold a riding lawnmower to go buy it.
So you kind of basically you just traded out.
Just traded out, yeah. It didn't run. It was the guy that was getting rid of it was trying to get rid of it because the place where he was storing it at the storage facility, because he had it parked outside on the fence. We're getting ready to tow it. And I just went and bought it, didn't run, brought it home, and realized that these cars have this group of that generation of CRX, the first gen, it's 84 to 87. It was designed in the U.S., but of course sold worldwide, which I didn't know that. Every day I learned something new about these cars. But I started the group because parts are hard to find for these cars. The aftermarket is not very kind to these cars. Japan, of course, had a dual overhead cam version, but the U.S. only got the single overhead cam version. It was one of the first cars to have the program fuel injection. It was a non-VTEC car, but it came carbureted and fuel injected. So
now, hold on. So now are people taking the dual overhead cams and sticking them in there? Yeah.
So back in the day, we're just going to show my age a little bit. Remember when hybrid met, it was taking a dual overhead cam motor and sticking into a single overhead cam car. That's what a hybrid car to me was back in the day.
Completely forgot about that term, but you're 100% right.
Remember that?
Yeah.
We didn't, hybrid cars now are, hybrid, gas electric, but back in the day it was when they did swaps. That's when the swaps started.
Yeah.
So you can't directly swap a B series into this car, but you have to do a little bit of modification. I think there's some mounts you can buy, and you can swap it in. You have to change, of course, the computer and all that stuff, and the fuel system. But it can be done. So that's people are swapping that. The more common swaps are the ZC swaps, the ZC engine, because they put the ZC engine in Japan. And then, of course, the Integras we got here that same year, vintage, I think it was 85, 86, 87, Integras had the dual head cam motor, and it'll swap into the CRXs. There's a lot of things you can do. Over the years, people have started to develop more stuff where there's guys doing K-swaps now. So it's getting pretty crazy. But I, like I said, back to why I started the group. I started it just to kind of help find parts for the car. I started posting in other CRX groups on Facebook, kind of saying, hey, here's a new group. And then pretty much word of mouth, it started to grow. And like I said, I started in 2015, and I've got about 2,100 members on it now, which is a pretty good size, I think, for a group of a specialized car. And probably, I'd say 75% of them are probably dedicated guys. The rest of them are just, interested in what's going on. And there's both male and female. There's
People
a couple
like
of girls. There's a couple of girls that got some cool looking setups, and there's a couple of guys in there that have pretty good looking cars. But like I said, just the source parts, because it's hard to find parts for these cars.
Now I got to test you here. There's no right or wrong answer, but you just kind of made me think about something. So forgive me in advance. So you said a few of the girls have these cars and some of the guys have these cars. A few episodes ago, I had an episode called Chick Cars and Chick Drinks. Do you think the CRX would be classified as a chick car?
I think when it was brand new, if you were caught driving a CRX or like a Del Sol, any 2-seater type
Del Sol
small car
sure.
like that, it would be considered a chick car.
But now it's just kind of a cool old Honda.
Yeah,
I think
it's a little sporty 2-seater.
So why the CRX so much? Getting away from the group, like, is this something you've just always loved?
I've always, even the previous cars that I've had, I had a hatchback.
What did you have when I met you?
I had the...
And we're talking 98. 99.
I had that white Integra GSR. I think it was a 99. It was a 99 GSR.
So we both had brand new GSRs then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Remember that kid, that little, I don't know if he was Brazilian or what, where he had kind of the super ghettoed out 4-door LS GSR, kind of purple, and he put the Jackson Racing supercharger in it?
Yeah.
Like he hollowed out that entire car. And back then we weren't really into that. So it's like, dude, your car's fast, but it's...
So you know what? I might have had the, I think I had the 97 Prelude.
Prelude, yeah. I feel like Prelude, because I think I was the only... Yeah, okay.
Because I had the Prelude and the GSR at the same time, because I was with the X, and that's the cars that we had. She drove the Integra, but I used to take it to the meets too. But I also had that Prelude. And then shortly after that, I traded the Prelude in for a hatchback.
Now, you know why I had that GSR is because I couldn't afford a Prelude. So I wanted the Prelude SH.
Yeah. That was mine was just the base model.
And believe it or not, I actually wanted a Honda Accord too. But I was going to get the 4-door Accord, and it was kind of a luxury car. I know some people are going to laugh at that, but at the time, it was a luxury trim. We're talking late 90s as they try to penetrate the big luxury car era or market, and that was, I want to say it was like a $23,000 or $24,000 Accord, which when you're trying to get your first or second car, that's a lot of money. That's definitely a lot of money for an 18, 20, 22, 23-year-old who isn't in their career and all that kind of shit.
Came with power everything and a sunroof. You got the EX model. And I think they were starting to do the leather models at that point, EXL, in the late 90s.
Yeah, so let that be a history lesson for the younger listeners. It's kind of like, let me ask you, we're getting a little off, but we can kind of talk the same talk. So you see all the memes and they're all funny, but at the same time, it's like, now, wait a minute, where they make the anti-theft device, or, they talk about how people can't drive a stick these days, and they're kind of chastising these millennials. And it's like, wait a minute, manual transmissions were just what they were, and you had to pay extra money if you wanted an automatic transmission.
Yeah.
Because it was a luxury item. So everybody was forced to learn how to drive manual transmissions. They're easy to work on. Hell, you can fucking start them rolling them down a hill, for crying out loud. Yeah.
I think it was like $1,000 to $1,500 upgrade for that.
Yeah.
And AC. You could get the car without AC.
That's right.
And a right mirror, just the driver's side mirror.
I'm telling you, man.
Well, they used to sell Hondas bare bones.
But yeah, so going back to your CRX.
So the CRX page. So it was just a small car. I've always liked small cars. The first sound of a car I liked, besides V8 cars, obviously with the rumble, but it was like the sound of a Ferrari.
Of course.
I remember as a kid, anytime you'd watch on TV, I probably never heard one up close until I was an adult, for sure. But when I was a kid, just that rumble sound of a Ferrari, and I felt like the first time I drove a Honda with that sound, like with an intake on it, it had that growl, growl coming from the engine. It wasn't necessarily coming from the back, but it was, coming from the engine, and that sound just kind of hooked me. And that's why I've always kind of been hooked on the Hondas. And then I've liked small cars, and I thought, well, shit. I mean, the CRX it's light. It weighs like 1,500 pounds. You don't need much horsepower to get it going and, zipping around. And I always thought just a small, light, quick car would always be fun to drive. And I'd hope, at least had little dreams of trying to get into autocrossing or, just kind of playing with the car that way. But, time and money hasn't allotted for that yet. But just because it's a small car, it's nimble. I did think about the second generation CRXs, but everybody's got those. That was the attitude that I had. Those are, everywhere you see those kind of fixed up. People got those a lot more than the first gen, just because the first gen, they're hard, there's no aftermarket for it.
And that's 84 to 87 is the page?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When that car came out, I think, was it Mugen, however you pronounce it? Mugen.
Mugen. It depends on who you're talking to.
Mugen. I've always said
I don't think
Mugen.
anybody knows.
It's probably the wrong way, but I don't care. But
they came. Mugen?
Yeah. I think Mugen, they had some parts for it back in the day. And I think Jackson Racing, no, I think just Mugen probably did. They had the kit, a body kit for it, and some other performance add-ons. And nowadays, when you see that CRX that year with the Mugen kit, it's pretty rare. There's actually a guy that just rebuilt one. I posted a couple pictures of it, that silver one on there. He's out in California. It's pretty badass setup. That's like the dream CRX. If you own a CRX and you're really into them, that's like the god car. That's the car you want to build up to. But the Mugen kit, you used to be able to buy that body kit, and what it did is it just gave you a little bit wider fenders, kind of not like a Liberty Walk kit. Those Liberty Walks are pretty wild, but this Mugen kit was just like a subtle race, sporty looking little kit, and it came in. I think it had fender pieces on both front and rear fenders, a rear fin, rear bumper, front bumper, and the front nose, kind of the headlight housing, and made the car look pretty cool. Just kind of accented the existing lines. And of course, they don't make those kits anymore. And if you find one, they're super rare. Everybody always wants the original, the OG Mugen kit. There is a company that makes a reproduction fiberglass. I guess they were all fiberglass, but there's a company that makes a reproduction version. But you got to contact them ahead of time and order it, because they make it pretty much as you order it.
Are they that company that took over for Wings West?
It's Hausman. I think it's Hausman Motorsports. I'd have to look the link up, but they still make it. They actually make a wider kit too. There's like a race kit. There's a guy that's got a CRX that he races on Grid Life that has the wide kit, and I think his is a Hausman kit. I'm not sure, but you can still order the kit basically for about $2,500. I think you can get the whole kit, which is not too bad.
So I'm on the page right now, and I'm looking at kind of a bitchin' one that this Olivier Boignes Bologna? Oliver Bologna.
Oh, yeah.
Oliver Bologna posted, sorry, Olivier, I slaughtered your name. But it looks like it's kind of a gunmetal one.
So that's a render. That's not even a real photo.
Oh, these motherfuckers. I'm so sick of these damn renders.
But as far as the body goes, that's the Mugen kit. I mean, that's pretty accurate as far as how the body looks. What the guy did, I think it's Ambical Design is the guy's name.
Now that I'm looking at larger pictures of it, so the front 3/4 view looks legit, but the rest of it you can kind of tell.
Yeah.
But it's still well done. But
what he did is he put the current current Civic Type R motor in it.
Okay.
Which, it's got the 3 tips on the back, and then you can kind of see the motor on the front, up front. But yeah, that's a render.
Well, in my world, I would just use Microsoft Paint. I gotta get the point across.
His name is Abimelech Arellano, whatever.
The guy that I said, Olivier Bologna?
No, that's a whole different guy. He just kind of did a screen grab and.
The guy who did the. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, but the guy that actually did the design does some pretty cool designs. He takes just uncommon cars and does renders of them. They look completely real, but they're not.
There's a few guys that do that on Instagram that are freaking amazing.
Yeah.
So you like small cars, right? So
small cars. So it was just, a Miata. Everybody's got a Miata, but I'm a Honda guy, so I wanted something small and light.
No smart car in your future?
I would like to have. Let's see, it's another small car they don't sell here. Is that the Honda E, and it's that little hatchback that they sell in over the UK now, but it looks like the original Honda Civic, and it's all.
I see it.
You know what I'm talking about?
It was like a couple of years ago. It seemed like it was just kind of a prototype. And
the prototype looked awesome, and the production car didn't look as cool as the prototype, but it's still pretty cool. I think it has 100-mile, maybe a 200-mile range. I can't remember.
Total shit car, by the way.
It's a shit car?
No, total shit car, by the way.
Oh, total shit car, and I don't care. I'll be a goofy old man and total chick.
This is 16-year-old, kind of rich, but doesn't want a BMW because she wants to be cute and different and fit in. So she got the Honda E.
She got the Honda E.
It's a cool looking car.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. There's a couple of videos out on YouTube where they do some reviews of it, and the dash is pretty cool looking. The inside kind of looks vintagey, and the dash, I think it's got the screen it's got like a screensaver that looks like a fish tank, and there's fish in there, and I think you could feed them and all that stuff.
Well, because you should be doing that when you're driving.
Yeah.
Go ahead and feed your fish. Man, I'm looking at the interior right now, man. That is pretty damn cool, because you're right. It's got that very retro feel, but it's got the displays going across.
Yeah.
As if it was designed in the 80s, but with modern computers.
And right now they have no interest in selling it in the States. Because, of course, like they do everything. It doesn't have rear view mirrors. It has, or like the side mirrors, it has cameras, rear view cameras. So
I can see that.
Each side, you see the little screens, which are the mirrors.
I think that's this picture I'm looking at right now. I'm blowing it up. Yeah, totally. So that's what I'm looking at. Yep. Right there on the left side, right above the vent. You can see two people standing there right next to the car.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story. So you know how I had the car wrapped and I had window perf on the back, and by design, I thought I was going to be able to see, but since it's at an angle, I couldn't see shit. I could see like headlights behind me, but no idea where they're at. So I installed a rear view camera that was always on, and that's how I got so used to looking through a digital screen to see who was behind me the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, it seems strange at first, but I mean, once you start doing it, you can't figure out how you did it without it.
Yeah, in fact, once I removed the wrap, it took me a few weeks. Not that I drive the car every day, but it took me a few weeks to stop looking up at that screen, and I could just look at my rear view.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. So where are you at? Well, and by the way, I like smart cars too. I always wanted to get one with the whole Brabus thing going. Maybe get a Busa motor in there if I wanted to have a lot of stupid fun. And the only reason I didn't buy one, well, one of the reasons I didn't buy one, because I was going to sell my Infiniti before I moved here. I was going to try to sell my Infiniti in Michigan and then fly down here or drive down here in our other vehicles and then buy one. Is they weren't rated very good for highway. Like they top out like really fast, less than the speed of normal traffic. But if my job was, 10, 15 minutes on the back streets, even 20 minutes on the back streets, I probably would have a little smart car. But where are you with technology these days? What are you looking forward to? What do you like? What don't you like compared to back when we were coming up? And we'll talk about the tech a little bit, and let's talk about the car scene as you've seen it, because we've changed too. So we can't ignore the fact that our situations have changed. Our viewpoints on things have changed as well. But right now, where are you at?
As far as tech, my like what I want in a car, would want in a car is just pretty much everything that they offer now, like all the convenient stuff that you like, heated seats, power windows, and all that is power locks is all standard now. Back when I was buying new cars consistently, I haven't bought a new car since 2012. Just to kind of give you a perspective on
our newest car is a 2011 Audi, so.
How I am with cars. So I have no car note right now, and I haven't had one for a while, and that's on purpose. And then when you get a kid in college, it helps out quite a bit. So our next car that we're looking at to get is a Camry. My wife, she had an Accord, and then she had a Civic, but we're giving that Civic to our daughter. It's a 2008 Civic. That's what she's going to be driving.
So why a Camry?
So a Camry because she wants a bigger car. She's thought about, of course, me, I'm like, well, why don't you want the Accord? She doesn't really like the current look of the Accord. Her main things that she wants is, of course, AC, which they come with anyway, but is the heated seats. She's got to have heated seats. The Accords, they come with heated seats, and the Camrys both come with heated seats, but she wants something that she hadn't had before. She's had a couple of Hondas, and she's like, I'm ready to try something different. I'm like, well, don't you want to try go test drive the Accord?
But you guys are in Texas. What do you need heated seats for?
I know.
The national misconception about Texas and the South in general.
I know. And the other thing is that I think those cars, that level with the heated seat only comes in leather. So you're going to have, it's just to get that cold kick off as soon as you sit down. But I mean, I'm happy with the basics, cruise control, a sunroof, power windows. I don't really hook my phone up to the car to listen to music. I just listen to like an iPod. I mean, when the iPods came out, that's when I really started kind of putting music on my iPod or my phone and just kind of plug it in the car and listen to it that way. But
Andy, you can't get on my show and talk about iPods.
I don't. That's just something like I said, we're pretty basic. We don't get in the car to listen to music and entertain ourselves. We use the cars to drive back and forth. If I want to entertain myself in a car, then that's when I use my little play car, my hobby car. But we just want modern conveniences. If it comes with navigation, we'll take it. But nowadays, you use your phone for navigation. I mean, we're so used to putting the phone in the stand and using that to navigate with that, cars with their navigation systems is just not really appealing to us. And it probably, it could be because we haven't had it. Let us get into this new car and sit down and see. And again, like I was saying before, how did we live without this? How did we ever get to the grocery store without this navigation system that's in the car?
Well, we just went to MapQuest and we printed it out and made sure we printed out the second sheet that had the turn-by-turn directions.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it was done. So anything now that a car comes with as convenience is pretty awesome to us. But I mean, there's not something that we're particularly eyeballing for. My wife's attitude is more about comfort and convenience. Mine is more reliability and performance. I want to know how fast is it? How fast can I get on the highway? How fast can I pass somebody?
Well, the good news is almost everything you buy in the modern era, I'm talking modern era, I'm talking 2016 and newer, has everything she would want, at least.
Yeah.
Most of them have what she would want, and some of them have what you would want. Toyota is one of the last manufacturers to get their shit together and offer decent stuff Camrys, I wouldn't call a Camry a basic car because they come extremely well equipped.
Yeah.
But when it comes to things like Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, if you guys have not have you experienced that before?
No.
In like a rental car? Okay. I'm here to tell you. No, seriously, I'm here to tell you. My tagline is no CarPlay, no J. So when I go to the airport and I pick up a rental car when I'm normally traveling on a normal year, because that's what I do every week normally is travel. Yeah. I get into the car and I plug my phone in, and if there's no CarPlay, I unplug it, go find another car on the lot.
You're like, I'm out.
Yeah, that technology will change your life because what it does, are you familiar with it?
No, I mean, I had a work truck, but it was a Ford, but it had the Ford's system, whatever that is.
Okay, so no, but Ford, most manufacturers now have it as part of their OE setup, where you plug your phone in and you set it down. And are you an iPhone guy or an Android guy?
iPhone.
Okay, very good. So you plug your phone in and you are presented with the same apps that you would typically use on your phone right in front of you. And it's got freaking Apple Maps, Google Maps, freaking Waze. And even before you get in the car, you tell it where you want to go. When you plug it in, it just picks it right up, man. And it takes you. So now you have the navigation on the screen. And it's just the ridiculous luxury of Apple CarPlay. So if you guys get the Camry, if you get a newer Camry, if you get a 2012 Camry, I can't help you.
No.
If you get a newer Camry, it's gonna have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as part of it. And I'm telling you, man, it's night and day, and you're gonna love it.
It'd be like it's like if you don't have it, it's like leaving your phone or forgetting your phone.
Kind of is. Like, I don't have it in my Infiniti, and my wife doesn't have it in her Audi, but my NSX has it, like an aftermarket head unit, and I absolutely can't live without it.
Yeah, we probably definitely like that.
What about this hybrid world? Everything's EV and hybrid. Looks like it's moving to full EV. Do you have any strong opinions? Because some people have some just incredibly strong opinions, but
I used to. I want to say if you'd asked me 20 years ago, I probably would have laughed in your face and would have said, it's all about most, horsepower and gas, gas burning engine, fire, fuel, V8 power, and all that other bullshit.
84 to 87 Honda CRX Facebook page, by the way.
That's right. I started out a muscle car kid. That was my high school, was muscle car kids. But nowadays, I'm all for it. I mean, sign me up, give me a good, reliable electric car, and I'll drive the shit out of it. I'll still have my little project cars on the side that may be gasoline burning cars, but as far as an everyday driver, sign me up. If I could afford a Tesla, I'd buy one. But I'd rather have something. I'm waiting for the regular everyday Joe car to come out that's not too stupid looking, but that's economical and reliable, or the range is good.
Yeah, and they're coming out with more and more of those, and just cars in general. If you think back to by the 90s, you didn't really have this problem, but by the 80s, and I was still in high school in the early 90s. So we'll take your 84 to 87 CRX for an example. Back then, there was like 3 or 4 cool cars. Like the 80s was not kind to any car.
Mm-hmm.
All the cars were shit except for like a handful of cars. But now you can go out and almost any car dealership and any car lot and pick out a pretty cool car. Now, was it going to last 5, 10, 15 years? That's the difference. You know, is it going to rattle in 2 years? But they all kind of have the same technology. And every manufacturer has at least one car that you can put in the same category as another car where, you know, super upper class. So you can, I mean, hell, look at that new fucking, look at the Hyundai Genesis. They just came out with an SUV called the GV80. That thing won best new SUV, and it beat out Porsche. It beat out not Ferrari, but it beat out Porsche. It beat out Mercedes. It beat out BMW. I mean, they're all out there, man. The modern cars. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's, I get on some of the other Facebook groups that I'm on. You hear people, or just people in general, you hear them just talk shit about electric cars. And what is it? Jalopnik. Every time they post something new about an EV car, people just start losing their shit in the comments, you know, talking about, you know, this car sucks and gasoline all the way. And it gets political, and that, you know, the politicians are trying to get rid of the gas cars. And I'm like, yeah, they are. I said, because they're going away.
2035 people.
It's going to be an ancient technology. I mean, do we still drive steam cars? No, we don't. I mean, do we still cut things with sharp rocks? No, we cut with steel blades. I mean, I
would drive a steam powered car to get ice cream.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Wouldn't take that bitch on the highway.
I just listened to these guys bellyache, and I'm like, you know what? In 20 or 40 or 50 years, you'll be dead. And it's our kids and grandkids that'll be controlling, you know, over this and shit. You know, we'll have magnetic powered cars. It won't even be electronic, you know, just put magnets in it. And I figured out how to make them work that way.
Well, it's thing. It's this thing. And I've bitched about this before, where people love to weigh in on an opinion on something they otherwise wouldn't care and don't plan to get anyway.
Yeah.
It's like there's like the C8 Corvette when it was announced, you know, people either loved it or they hated it, and everybody had something to say. Now, how many people actually planned on really buying a new Corvette?
Yeah. 1% of that group.
Right. So everybody else, your opinion is okay. Everyone has opinions. It's fine. But at the same time, it doesn't matter for the people who just buy the car. It. Right.
Yeah. If you're never going to buy the car, then what does it even matter?
You hear that a lot with the NSX. I don't know. How do you feel about the NC1? That's what it's called, the NC1 NSX. Because you hear a lot of, if they just get rid of that hybrid and put a stick back in there, it'd actually be a cool car. But most of those people, it's the same people who have no idea. They're never going to see one, drive one, sit on one in a car show. Yeah.
I think they're cool. I mean, that's one of my probably top 5 cars to want or to have. I'd take one in an instant if somebody wanted to give me one.
Well, I think
because what was it like?
I would too.
Yeah, and I don't know how many years back it was, but it seemed like a lot of the auto trans cars were starting to be a lot faster than the stick cars.
Yeah.
You'd see these road tests and the magazines, you know, sites, and they're putting these cars side by side, and these auto cars are just a few milliseconds faster than the stick cars, no matter who you stuck in there. So
a manual transmission is for nostalgia. Right. And it's for full control. It's a sense of feeling you have full control, even though you still don't have full control. That ECU is still doing all your work for you.
Yeah.
And that's really it. Even in our day, when we'd go to the import domestic drags out at, where was that? Where were the ID Wars? Ennis?
Ennis, yep.
Yeah, we'd go to those drag wars. No, in 2021, a drag war would be something completely different, but we would go to those drag wars in Ennis, and the fastest cars flying down those tracks, like the Powerhouse Supras, they were automatic.
Yeah.
Because you can't keep up.
No.
Because the ECUs are just so fast.
And even these new cars, I mean, there are some cars that are standard, but most of them are drive-by-wire now.
Yep.
So
shit, my car is drive-by-wire, and it's a 97.
You're still not getting the full control you thought you had.
Yeah. Well, Andy, I'd like to rap with you all day, but our time is coming to a close, my good friend from yesteryear. When are you going to come back out here? Because you still have a child up in Prescott, right?
Yeah, he's in Prescott, and he's in like 2 or 3 feet
of snow right now.
Snow, yeah. He's been sending me pictures. I got to go up there to pick him up. So it'll be right when summer starts. We'll be heading up that way. And are you in Phoenix or where are you at?
Southeast Gilbert. So I'm probably an hour and a half away from Prescott. I can figure something out if the timetables work correctly and meet you guys somewhere.
That's a hell of a drive. That's a hella drive out there.
Shout out to Hella Dave.
Hella Dave. If you know, if he knows who he is.
Hella Dave, if you're out there, man, God bless you.
Yeah. That Facebook group, I also have an Instagram page. It's at Gen1CRX.
Gen1CRX. I was going to say, let's get you an opportunity to plug yourself here. So did that sound right? Plug yourself?
Plug myself.
So it's Gen1, Gen1.
GEN1.
I spelled G, I said J. Jesus Christ. Okay. GEN1.
Number 1 CRX all together. And that's supposed to be a page that's following my project CRX, but it's mostly me posting CRX images. I call it the ultimate CRX gallery. That's self-declared.
All right, Gen1 CRX. And if you guys are feeling adventurous, try to find the Honda CRX 84 to 87 Facebook page. Answer the qualifying questions, get in and behave yourself or you will be out.
No bullshit. That's my motto.
No bullshit. That's my man's motto. All right, Andy.
All right, man. Thanks.
I want to thank Andy E. Lazaradas or writer. Yeah, Andy E. I want to thank Andy E. for joining the show. It's been great talking to him. Hopefully I get a chance to see him whenever he comes out here to Arizona. I don't think I've seen the guy since, hell, I moved away from Dallas in 1999. You can hit him up on his YouTube, Zumo's Garage. I found that while trying to find his other stuff. He's got the Facebook page, 84 to 87 Honda CRX. Remember, he's pretty strict and do not post. Please delete if not allowed. You can follow him on Instagram at Gen1CRX. That's GEN1CRX. Gonna keep moving. It's time for the Arizona Ride of the Week. So this is a new segment. Actually, what I've done is I've recycled the rental car of the week because if you're keeping tabs on me, I have not rented a car in a long time. Typically, my job requires me to rent a car every week, except for like everybody else, I've been stuck at home for almost a calendar year now. So now it's just the Arizona Ride of the Week. If you're from some other state, maybe I'll pull you in, maybe I don't. Anyway, this is still sponsored by Higher Quality Detail out of Tempe, Arizona. They specialize in premium vehicle protection solutions and cosmetic customizations as your one-stop shop, ranging from basic detailing options through ceramic coating, paint correction, protection films, and more. Visit them at Ceramic Pro Arizona, one word, on Instagram, or Higher Quality Detail. That's HYER, Quality Detail, also one word, online, and get started looking your best today. Today's guest is Jesse Shield. Jesse, welcome to the show.
Jesse Shield, baby.
What's up,
hey,
man?
dude, let me sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but if you need, I don't have rental cars, but if you want to take the 350 or the Eclipse for a rip, you're more than welcome to either one.
Hey, I have a better idea. So I've been doing some car skits, and I think you and I can do this thing where we can even, I know you, I trust you, we can trade cars for a week. What'd you think about that?
Yeah, I'm down. Whatever you want to do.
We'll trade cars and we'll just do some sort of a funny thing on it. And
the only problem is both of mine aren't worth any of yours.
Hey, it's all right, man. I'll find out a way to put like a little speed limiter on the NSX, 20 miles an hour, have the boost turned off.
Like Tesla have that like rookie, or the Tesla and then the Dodge Challengers, the Hellcats, they have like a key that you give them and it gives it like half power.
Yep.
There you go.
We'll do something like that. So I wanted to have you on because we've known each other for a while, and we always worked, like we knew each other from the Office space, or in the office, not the movie, not the show Office Space. And then you left.
Different though. Was just like it.
It was just like it. You eventually left after I think I was already gone, and to pursue a career in realty, real estate.
Real estate,
real estate. Yep. And you're kind of a firebug in that, but you started a YouTube channel not too long ago, and your videos are infectious and fun. That's why I wanted to have you on here to talk about it. So at what point, when did you start your YouTube channel? And your YouTube channel is your name. It's just Jesse Shield.
Jesse Shield. Yep. I started it a year ago. Here's the deal. I was watching a ton of other YouTubers, and this would have been in like November, December, a year and a half ago or a couple months ago. And I was like, oh, dang, these guys are all having fun. They've all got sweet cars. And here I sit in my room, on my couch, in my bed, watching these 20-year-olds have a blast. And I'm like, why don't I just go and freaking do this? And then I'm like, I'm kind of a money conscious person. I don't like to spend a lot of money. I like to hoard it and make more of it. So I was like, well, I'm not going to go out and buy these ridiculous cars. What are cool cars that are cheap that I can buy? So I found this 350Z on Craigslist one day, and it was a good deal. It was $4,500. I'm like, okay, I'm going to grab that Z and I'm just going to start making content with it. And that was in December. I literally bought it like a day or two before Christmas, and then bought my camera gear. It was like an Amazon special. Got that before New Year's, and then I write down goals every year on a whiteboard. And my whiteboard that year said, start a YouTube channel and learn how to drift. And so January 1st, I made my first video. I was throwing stuff, swearing, trying to figure out editors, how to upload to YouTube, how to get stuff off an SD card onto your computer. It was all a learning experience for me. It was torture, but it's like second nature now. And I mean, here I am. I mean, it's not super impressive, but 1,000 subscribers in under a year is what I got. So, and I'm just going to keep plugging away, and I'm having fun with it. So
that's actually really, really impressive, because I have a channel that no one subscribes to and no one watches the video. And I spent probably way too much time. First off, I've noticed that you drop these videos. Like, do you even have a schedule? Or do you have like a time of day that you try to drop these? Because it's like 2 days ago, 3 days ago, a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
I'm just winging it, dude. I'm a fly by the seat of my pants kind of guy. This week I've got a little bit of a schedule. I wanted to get the car detailed, and I wanted to try and push out my clips. I wanted to get it detailed and push it out like a kind of a to be continued with the next episode. And that's why I'm waiting for those clips right now to download. And then I'm going to edit that and get it up yet tonight. And then a buddy of mine was leaving town. He's got a GT3, and he goes, why don't you take the GT3 for a couple of days and then do a review on it? I'd love to see that. And I'm like, sure. So I got a GT3 review coming up. And then I got another buddy who's coming to town this week, and I want to kind of do a 350Z versus Eclipse GSX video. I think that'd make a good race. So I've got a full schedule coming this next week and a half. But after that, like I said, I'm just winging it. So
now, see, I knew you like cars, but we never really... Like, we talked about it a little bit back when we worked together, and you had the Firebird up in Dakota. So was it the
Trans Am?
Trans Am.
Yep.
That was in North Dakota.
Yeah, North Dakota, Minnesota. I was working, kind of living in Fargo. Originally from Minnesota. It was like right on the border there. But yeah, that's how we connected. I don't remember our first conversation, but I do remember the day I came to work and there was an NSX sitting out front, and I go, dang, who's got an NSX? And then I came over to your desk and started talking to you, and I saw an Acura emblem with a key on it on the counter. And I go, dude, is that NSX outside yours? And then instantly it's like, boom, the car bond, like guys bond over cars. And then it was so interesting to talk to you about it, because like that's a big time car. So
that's back when my car was really slow, but it has always been nice. But
it was nice, man. I mean, that thing was clean. I mean, at the time, I think it was black, and it had
it's black
some type
again,
of gray, like a grayish wheel on it or something. And then you bought some gold wheels just after that you put on it. Then you turned it into the comic book space thing, which was cool, which is original. I mean, I saw that car like that thing's freaking original. And then now you got it back to black. It looks like in one of the videos I saw.
Yeah, she's back to black. Why? So what is your motivation behind your videos? Because they're really entertaining, and they're almost, I assume do you know who Peter McKinnon is?
I don't know.
You have a little bit of Peter McKinnon in your presentation, and that's a good thing, because he's kind of like, hey, what's up, everybody? Da, 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 but he's got millions of followers and drops millions of views on all his videos. So you kind of have like that thing going, but with cars. And so,
sure.
Why? Where does that come from? Or you just decided that you kind of like that quick flash cut kind of spastic presentation?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of me. When I was watching a lot of YouTube, there's, my channel is derived from 3 or 4 channels that I was watching a lot of. I like this one guy's personality. I like this one guy's editing style. I like this other guy's like explanation on how to. And I mean, there's maybe another one in there. Oh, and then this other guy's just really cool, nice, local. And I'm just like, I'm going to blend those 4. And that's exactly what I did. I blended those 4 channels, made my own. And then what you see on the camera is that's just me.
And that's you. Yeah, I was going to say, it's important people understand that you pulled from those other inspirations, but at the end of the day, you made it yours. It's still you.
Right. I think if anyone tried to create a YouTube channel and the majority of it wasn't who they actually are as a person, they would hate it. They would, it gets work, it's a lot of work to make a YouTube channel, but I enjoy doing it. It's like, I love it. It's a creative outlet. I'm having fun, not making a lot of money doing it, but it's like, who cares when you're having a lot of fun?
Right. So you hit your 4,000. Yeah, I'm actually on that right now. How I got 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers in less than a year. How long does it take you to film some of these videos? Because this video itself was 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
How long does it take you to film, edit, and spit it out?
I mean, I think I filmed that in a day and probably edited it that night. Like today, I filmed one, and I'll get it posted here yet tonight. I think it'll probably be kind of late, but I'll get it out there. Usually, it depends on the video, but normally when I have an idea of what I want to do, I'll plan for a day to do it, and then I'll shoot it all in one day. Probably start editing that night, finish it the next day, and post it. So it's usually like, maybe a 2-day process. And then after you do one, you like to take a day or two break, because it's a lot of work to shoot a video. And I do it all myself, like all these other guys got people following them around and, taking shots, breaking out drones. And me, it's like pretty much all me. I've had some friends come along a few times for some help, but for the most part, it's all me.
Yeah, I hate you, dude, because I'll film and I feel like it takes me a week and a half to edit and do all the stuff that I do. And I don't need to do that. And I think that's the reason why not only did my channel struggles, but I struggle to get the stuff out, because like I said, I mean, you just told us you're kicking these out every few days, and it's good content too. So I don't know. I'll have to figure that shit out, man. But,
well, it could come down to, I always just tell, do you love what you're doing? Or you love what you're talking about? You love the topics? Do you love it? Because if you don't love your topic, or if you don't like the editing part of it, you're probably not going to like YouTube, because obviously even if you just hate editing, like that's 50% of it.
You know what it is? It's like my brain keeps throwing ideas at me while I'm in the middle of editing.
Right. And you want to get it in the video then?
Yeah. And in your videos, you just keep doing what you're doing. I mean, do you subscribe to any of these outlets? Like I pay for Motion Array monthly, which gives me access to just about anything I want or I could need for a video.
Yeah, no, I don't. All I have is the $50 Mojave editor and my camera, and that's literally all I have.
Yeah, you're an asshole, dude.
I'm not trying. No, I'm not. No, I just like sometimes, and this was always a problem I had with like the IT world when we were working together. People overcomplicate things to a point where it makes everything too hard, and it's like
they do.
I'm a KISS method, keep it simple. And so with my YouTube channel, I keep it real simple. And to my discredit, because I keep it so simple, I don't know all the tips, tricks. I don't know ways to like market to different groups or how to plug it on social media. I literally just film, edit, post, and pray. That's my philosophy.
But that's all you have to do. So I need to somewhere in between where I'm at and where I want to go. I need to find I'm learning a lot just talking to you right now, watching you and your crazy long wavy hair and your bright sunglasses that are. I mean, it's a good look for you, man.
Yeah, I mean, the sunglasses cover my age, because most of these guys doing car videos are like 24, and I'm, we won't talk about how old I am, but I'm well past them. So I wear the sunglasses to cover up the wrinkles around my eyes. And then it helps me with the video too, because the camera I use has a side viewer, and I'm constantly looking at the side viewer to see if the car's in frame,
Yeah.
And so if I didn't have the glasses on, I'd constantly be looking to the left, and it would be annoying for the viewer. Like Casey Neistat, I don't know if you know who he is on YouTube, but that was something I pulled from his channel. Basically, he always wears sunglasses too, and he did or how to vlog like Casey Neistat. He did a video on that, and I watched it, and that was why he wore the glasses, was so his eyes weren't always rolling around.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I noticed. So I'm in some of these YouTube groups, and I'm watching. We do these watch videos, watch for watch, and I got to be honest that although my page isn't great and my videos aren't the best in the world, they're a lot better than some of this bullshit that I watch. And these people are always staring. They're not staring at the camera. They're staring at the screen. I'm like, stop staring at the fucking screen. Look at the camera, goddammit. This is your 70th video. Like, I can see if this is your first 5.
The worst part is when you see that video where it was filmed on a iPhone 4, the dude's like not in frame. He's like got his head cut off, and it's got 70,000 views.
That is the worst part, which also it tells us there's no exact science to this, right? It's like, just do what you do because, I mean, I'm sure you know Scotty Kilner, that guy.
I don't know. I just feel like an idiot.
No. Here's the thing. You would know him because anytime you've ever looked up anything on how to fix anything basic with your car, it's been this old guy, Scotty Kilner. Like,
I know who Scotty Kilner is, but I always run into the Chris Fix videos first.
Oh, Chris Fix. Yeah, but it's kind of the same thing. They're very low tech.
Yeah.
And Scotty's got over 1 billion views over his lifetime on YouTube.
Yeah, I know who he is now. He's got the tinted glasses, basically, and he's just older dude, right?
Yep. Yeah. And his is about as it's not a good video, but it's an educational video, and that's one of those things. So like, you can do whatever you want on YouTube.
I think what he's got going for him too is he started really early. He's been doing YouTube since it was a brown emoji on my iPhone 4.
Right. Yep.
And I mean, you guys like you and me, we're way late to the game. So it takes, I mean, in my opinion, YouTube is like a long play. Like, I got 1,000 last year. My goal for this year is 10,000. Dave Ramsey had a board or whatever where he was writing goals to be like a radio person. And, his first year he wanted 1,000. His next year he wanted 10,000. And, eventually 1 million. And I don't know if I'll ever get to 1 million, but I'm just kind of following the Dave Ramsey method because I heard it on his podcast. I'm like, oh, see, 1,000, 10,000. Those are good numbers. I'll shoot for those.
Yeah. And the thing about Chris and Scotty is they solve problems.
Right.
So that's one of the things: educate, solve problems, or entertain.
Yeah.
And they solve problems. So that's also kind of a recipe. But, hey, man, I don't want to take any more of your time. I appreciate you being able to jump on the podcast with me.
Yeah. Dude, super good talking to you. Anytime you want to take any of the cars for a rip or switch one or do a duel or whatever you want to do, so NSX versus GSX, I think we could have some fun together. So just let me know.
All right, man. Sounds good. Thanks, Jesse.
For sure. Good talking to you, man. Talk to you later.
It's time for the Q&A segment, sponsored by NSX Channel on Instagram, your number one source of NSX content. That's NSX Channel. Check them out right now. Been a while, but I brought in another guest. Nick Hammond was in the last episode. If you guys have not checked out the last episode called No Gas Vehicles by 2035, Celebrity Super Bowl Picks Off the Soup Podcast, Nick Hammond was on there as the Builder's Corner guest. And he also talked about his badass Miata. So check it out because we're not going to talk about that today. Nick, you ready to rock and roll?
Let's do it, man. Thank you for having me again.
Thanks for making the time. Got a couple questions here. So Jason Necky asks, what were your professional career aspirations as a kid?
So, not exciting. I guess I was a weird kid. When I was like really young, I wanted to be like a business lawyer. I don't know why that was something I wanted to do for the longest time as a kid. Most kids want to be athletes.
Pretty bizarre.
I wanted to do business law, and then I ended up going to school and going into kinesiology, and then ended up being going into finance after that was all said and done, into now finance technology. So it's been a really wild ride, but yeah, career aspirations as a child was business law, and now I'm a business analyst for a finance firm. So kind of still got the word business, I guess. It matches there, maybe.
So what would the people who raised you might say it was? Because, when you're like kindergarten, first grade, you always want to be something unrealistic.
Right. I think what it was I had some really good teachers that, as crazy as it sounds, when I was young, like I won't forget, my mother's been a teacher for 20 plus years, actually taught when I was in elementary school, which is also never get in trouble when your mother also teaches at the same school. Right. You can't hide. But I think I had some teachers, and I saw like a few of them, like their husbands or whatever were like lawyers, and they talked in like on a career day. And I think they always made it sound a little bit cooler than what it really was after the fact. And I think that's kind of where it was at. And that's why it might have pushed me to be there. I always wanted to just challenge myself, and I always like to talk, which I think that is what pushed me to go to that at that point in my life.
Got it. I didn't know if it was like Law and Order. I think Law and Order and The Simpsons are like the two longest running shows.
That would have been the coolest response, but it was just I think career day and old teachers.
I think for me, and we're talking kids, so I mean, I really don't know. Maybe as a teenager or middle schooler, it was artist. Everyone thought I was going to be either a comedian or like some sort of a famous artist, illustrator, or sports artist or something. And I kind of thought I was going to do some shit like that too, but obviously I'm not doing that now.
You've got some skills, man. I've seen the NBA drawings you busted out the one time on your stories. You've got some major skills.
Had.
If you don't use it, you lose it, right?
That's right. So Martine asks, Ford Raptor or Dodge TRX?
For me, it's TRX all day long. It's 702 horsepower. Come on. That's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
And I'm not really doing that much of truck stuff with it, I guess, at that moment. When you look at Ford Raptor and you look at it side by side, you're looking at 450 versus 702. I mean, don't get me wrong, the price tag, there's a difference. There's $16K associated with that price difference, but you're going V8, V6. And I grew up in a Mopar house at one point, so I'm going to have to stick it with the Ram 1500 TRX all day.
Got it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just like trucks in general.
Yeah.
I don't freaking know. I've always thought the Raptor was really cool.
Oh, and the Raptor's sweet.
It is. And the new Ram, the way the headlights are, because, I mean, we latch onto the dumb shit like, oh, it has cool headlights. So
the grill has some sweet things on it. No, I get you. It was for me, it was like kind of like that. And in the moment I just pulled up the stats and I read 702. I was like, yeah, that's dumb. Like, I'll never use all 702, but I want to know what it's like one day.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I think I'm with you. I'm gonna do the Ram just because it's newer, and I don't know from a reliability standpoint, but you know, one's Ford and one's Dodge, and they all have their issues. Next question comes from Sebastian.
Mm-hmm.
Sebastian, I hope you actually listen to the podcast because you submit questions often, and if you actually listen, then he'd hear that and he'd chime in and say, "Yeah, man, I do." We're gonna pivot to sports. So, what are your thoughts on the Super Bowl?
I was in the camp of wanting Mahomes and wanting KC all day long. It's conflicting on one aspect. To see Brady do what he's done for so long, to be so dominant, is impressive. But I can't help but want him to lose just to go ahead and have Mahomes come in.
Right.
And so that's kind of where I was at. The overall game, like the first half, it was starting to get exciting. But as I think a lot of people can attest, as they started to run away with it and kind of continue to spread that gap more and more, it just kind of lost a little bit of that peak. You kind of saw that defeat come in with KC. So I'm a little sad KC lost, but I will give respect to the guy that now has the same amount of more Super Bowl rings than roughly anybody else with it. So I got to give the man credit where credit's due, even if I don't necessarily like him the most, you know?
Yeah, I get that. My thoughts on the Super Bowl are it almost played out exactly as I had predicted score-wise. I said 33-20.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because even with a 2-score lead, 2.5-score lead, I mean, it's the Chiefs, right? So everyone's thinking, well, we'll see what happens in the third. And they came out flat in the third, and it's like, ooh, I don't know. And, you know, they're driving in the fourth, and the ball bounces up and gets picked off in the end zone. But I was like, I wanted them to score just so I could almost be right. Because had they scored and hit the 2-point conversion, they would have been 31-18, and I was 2 points off on both sides. So
yeah, you would have been damn close. That's for sure.
Now I never would have put money on it, but I didn't have a problem. I didn't have a problem with the Super Bowl. It would have been nice if KC could have done something, but I just think that you know, Tampa was just too ready defensively. They were just hungrier, I think, and
you're sitting in home turf, man, as well. That always does go ahead and kind of help a little bit to some extent, right?
I think it does, but I don't know how much it helps with the Super Bowl.
True.
Because most of the people there can't afford to be there, so they're they're on somebody else's dime. So next question is Wes Tankersley asks, friend of the podcast, will Brady win another Super Bowl?
Yes. I immediately say I don't want to say yes, but I say yes. We saw what he did with Tampa in that year. If he's allowed to continue to make the changes he wants and to move forward and kind of almost design that team further into this upcoming season, it could be the case. I could see something happening unless somebody's coming out with something really strong come up here next year. I think he gets one more.
God, I can't even imagine. I want to say no. Like the smart guy in me says no, right? But
yeah, I want to say no, but
it doesn't make sense. But
yep.
What usually happens, as you know, when a team wins a Super Bowl, all the good players on both sides of the ball start feeling themselves a little bit.
Yep.
And they get offered these contracts. The coaches get offered these contracts. So if everybody stays intact, which I doubt, then there's a chance they're going to run it back. But, the Saints are done at this point.
Yeah.
So you have the Rams possibly with Matthew Stafford. And then, you have Green Bay.
Yeah.
So they could get back. I don't know if they win. I want to say no.
Yeah, at least they're definitely making all the way to playoffs. Maybe they get knocked out this time. We'll see. But it's the Rams. I definitely could see as a contender coming in. I'm still going to throw out the major shock of the year is to watch Cleveland Browns make it to playoffs. But
right.
It's with that and just the running joke as well. Look, hey, Bruce is the coach for Tampa, and they made it to Super Bowl. What happened when he was with Arizona? Well, we just didn't have the players, right?
Just didn't have the players. Next question comes from Sean and OC. Did the Super Bowl streaker really make $50,000 off that bet? So I looked it up a little bit, and it was the claim is it was a $50,000 prop bet, and then he claimed that he won $375,000 from it.
Okay.
It sounds like you didn't know anything about that, and I didn't either until I looked it up because those are things I typically don't care about. But the answer is no. It was shut down by a sports book, so I didn't click on any of the 5 links about it that were updated as recently as today. But the answer was no, he did not.
Okay. So, that moment when it popped on, I had to rewind a moment to find out what was actually going down. I turned a brief second, and then just obviously all the cameras turned. But there you go.
Right.
Okay, so he made no money on that, but ran it anyways. I guess there's crazier things to be doing. I guess if you're gonna do it during the time when there's not as much crowd there. I'm trying to figure out the game plan on that one,
Yeah, I don't think there's any getting inside the head of some of these people.
True. Absolutely true.
So Patrick asked, he's thick_SRT on Instagram. How long do you think it is before municipalities really start shutting down car meets? I have an answer for that if you want to ponder on it. I don't know. Again, unless some sort of an executive order comes down from the president mandating stuff like this, every state's going to do whatever every state wants to do. And that was a problem last year. And, people could finger point it on whoever, but, I don't know if rates are continuing to rise or not, because everyone's just kind of doing whatever they want to do. Some people wear masks, some people don't. I had COVID, so I guess I'm clean for the next X amount of days, but I still bring one with me, but I don't always wear one when I'm out because of that. But until, our governor, right, Ducey, says you guys can't gather more than 10, then these meets won't get shut down. That's my thought on it. What's your thought?
Yeah, I'm going to say exactly that. Unless any sort of quote unquote executive that's going to come from Doug to just say, hey, no greater than 50 or no greater than 10, it's not going to get shut down. And even if you go to shut down these events, they're still going to pop up. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be all of a sudden, it's like the mini truck show that pops up at Kiwanis Park or that kind of thing. Those events are still going to pop up. They're going to show up. They will always be. I think that's kind of good or bad, depending however you want to look at it. That's what happens in the car community. People kind of band together. They do things. It's kind of almost quote unquote the underground in that aspect then, right? So it's I think they're still going to exist no matter what. I think your larger events are still going to try to go on until something comes down, executive order with it. Hopefully we start to see the turnaround and the come around from starting to hopefully get kind of some of the immunizations coming out and just starting to see a reduction. And maybe we can go ahead and start to get back to some more normalcy coming in, and hopefully SEMA exists this year. That's a big question mark I've got in the back of my head of wonder if we're going to be able to get to SEMA this year. But it's I'm with you. It's going to have to come with an executive order. Outside of that, and even then, they're still going to exist.
Little pockets here and there.
Yeah, little pockets. I don't think you can shut down everything. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Second to the last question, and I don't know what your availability is to answer this, but this comes from Chris Cutt, NS Extra. And I don't deal in cryptocurrency. I'm one of the dumb people, apparently. So the question is, how many Bitcoins will I need to buy a mega yacht next year? Is one enough or possibly two? And without even looking up the price of a mega yacht, I felt I already had an answer, but then I decided to look them up and I really have an answer.
And for that one, I briefly touched base. I cannot touch that with a 10-foot pole being a licensed broker without 17 disclaimers along with it. So
fair enough.
I will pass it back to you for that answer.
I'll take it. Is that a bounce pass or a chest pass?
Bounce pass, buddy.
Bounce pass. I caught it, and looking up here, because I don't really play in these waters. It's like everybody else, right? You see on social media and they post it when it's good and they cry when it's bad, but they still post it. So according to these projections, and I know what it's at now, or someone posted and it was close to 50 or 48 or whatever it was. They're projecting in 2022, it could be, $170. So 170,000. Now, here's what I know. And I looked up these mega yachts, these luxury yachts. When you're looking for the price range, the minimum price is $1 million. So you can, you can pick $1 million, or the max is over 50 million. And so by that, I'm going to say 1 is not enough, 2 is not enough. You do the math based on what I just told you. So there's your answer. Do the math based on what I just told you, because I suck at math. So
now I got to ask though. This is going to turn into my question coming in. Like, does that make a yacht come with a crew at that price point, or do you still have to supply those after?
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. They're add-ons.
They're add-ons.
But then you kind of get in that kind of weird human trafficking thing that we probably don't want to touch either.
Yeah, well, let's not touch that either.
Last question is from Catherine. What is your secret guilty pleasure?
Are we talking food? We talking music here? Like what's the lowdown?
Left it open.
All right. Guilty pleasure.
Secret guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure.
That's a key word, I think.
Yeah, no, I think that's the key word for sure. Dude, I destroy Lindt chocolates more than I ever should. Like, I will straight up, like, I don't know, that sounds like really dumb, but like, I will straight up like buy a bag of chocolate and eat it before I get home, so my wife doesn't know that I've ate a whole box of truffles. Like, that's some Valentine's level candy that I will like eat year round. Like, that's something that should not be a common diet item going on. So I think that might be it if I'm going food.
How are you on those Ferrero Rochers or whatever those are called?
The little bit of like, what is that, hazelnut with that situation?
Yeah. My wife loves that.
It's not too bad for me, but like, you throw me a mixed bag of Lindt truffles, man.
Those
done.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be just like food baby in a corner, like hating my life. So I think from a food perspective, I think that's straight up like my secret guilty pleasure. Like, year round, I will just buy and eat those without, like, in a car, like while I'm driving, and be like, nah, I don't know what happened to that box of wrappers, and just throw it in the garbage at the gas station.
Fair enough. Now, for me, Catherine, I went ahead and grabbed a nice piece of paper here because I don't like that question. Secret guilty pleasure. If I tell you what it is, it's no longer a secret.
True.
And that is our Q&A segment. Thank you, Nick, for joining today.
Thank you for having me as always. It's super fun.
I want to thank Nick Hammond for joining the show. Instagram, nhammond, all squished together. Nhammon. Not Hammond, Hammon. If you're interested in coming on as a Q&A guest, reach out to the show and let me know. I always love having people come on as Q&A guests, but I always try to make sure that the questions are things that they can answer. So, and I love the questions. Keep sending them. Want to thank Right Honda, Kuya Automotive, BoosterBath.com, TongueTreats.com, FourWheelOnline.com, and the NSX channel on Instagram. Of Questions, comments, concerns, hardparkingpodcast@gmail.com. Please join the Patreon, patreon.com/hardparkingpodcast. That is your way to financially support the show. And you get some cool shit. Just ask Catherine H. Cox, who got one of those really cool coins that are really reserved for Patreons, and they're reserved for the title sponsors. Shop the Teespring page. There's an active link on the podcast description. You may have to be subscribed to activate any of the links because I don't do the entire URL. I just activate the link. So it's just going to say shop the Teespring page. So unless you're subscribed, that won't be an active link, at least on Apple, which is what I found out. Kind of sucks. Join the Facebook group, become part of the conversation, hard parking violations, and interact with myself and other members. You don't even have to like cars. In fact, I hope you don't. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Hard Parking Podcast. Like I said before, the content is actually unique to the channel and is not a direct port of this podcast. I think you're going to enjoy it. A lot of the podcasts on Instagram, a lot of the podcasts on YouTube is a direct port. So they record the video first and they take that and they spit it out to the audio format. Because guys, a podcast is audio. It's not video, it's audio. But there's some really good ones out there, but I don't do that yet. I just create original content specifically for the YouTube page. Follow me on Instagram, NA2NSX, or J Travels, which is JHAE_travels. So if you really like the car stuff, follow me on NA2NSX. If you like the food, the travel, and the bullshit, J_travels. If you really like this show, subscribe and tell a friend. I can't grow unless you tell the world how badass this is. Also, join myself and Wes Tangersley on One Drink Wednesday, something we started doing on Instagram. Every Wednesday, 6:30 Mountain Time. He may host the session and I join. I may host the session he joins. Who knows where this is going to go? It's basically us having one drink and talking about the week and having a lot of fun and answering your questions live on the gram. Let's do this. Let's grow this thing together. As a lot of you guys know, my daily driver is a 2007 Infiniti FX35 Sport. It's about time I put some money into it. Can't just drive the NSX around all the time looking nice. Want to get some wheels. For over a decade, 4Wheel & Line has been bringing the best truck accessories and truck parts to enhance the appearance and performance of all trucks and SUVs. They're dedicated to providing an extensive range of upgrades that will match any maker model on the road. Their truck products cover everything you need for a custom look and added functionality. I was talking about a wheel and tire package. Head over and use a configuration tool. They carry all the major brands of wheels and tires, so go get outfitted today. Visit them at 4Wheel Online. That's 4Wheel, singular, online. Are you tired of blowing out your back at the bathtub while washing your dog or subjecting your canine to a water torture bath while leashed up to a post outside? Now there's a far more effective way to wash your pet while saving your back and keeping your dog happy. It's called Booster Bath, a portable bathtub on legs. Head over to boosterbath.com, one word, and pick one up. Available in 3 sizes, this tub system features a drain, a soap cubby, and water controlling wand. This tub conveniently breaks down to be stored when not in use. Want to save 10% on your first time purchase? Head over and sign up today to make that happen. Boosterbath.com.
Shut up!